Let me start by saying dupes are not always a one-to-one recreation of the original perfume. Sometimes it's the same DNA with a little bit of nuances according to what the perfume house wants to achieve. So please bear that in mind as I go through this video and give examples. Hello internet, welcome to my channel. My name is Kamagelo B. Chadi. Thank you for joining me. If you are new or old, you are welcome. If you like the content that I'm putting out, guys, please do like and subscribe and maybe share it with other people as well. I would really appreciate that. What we are talking about today are the most cloned perfumes in history, I think. So obviously I used chatbots to come up with this list. I had the AI mark the AI and give me a list that I could work with. It's a bit difficult. It would be a bit difficult for me to do this any other way. So I thank you technology for being so helpful in today life. But in their consolidated list, they came up with 2 fragrances which I thought maybe don't belong here, because when I looked into what the dupes were, they were not so popular. So that's Dior Sauvage and YSL Black Opium. I'm not saying they're not duped a lot. I'm just saying from what I saw on Fragrantica and the suggested dupes that I found were not things that I was familiar with. So if I'm gonna put it in the video, then at least I must know the dupes, right? Because of that, I've replaced those 2 with ones that I have seen in like social media and YouTube to be dupe favorites in a sense. So that's what I've included. Starting with my list, I'm gonna do Perfumes de Marly's Delina. So Delina or Delina Exclusive. So it was launched in 2017 with the perfumer behind it being Quentin Biche. Apparently I've heard he's like the master of the rose note. So if you see a Quentin Biche rose fragrance, chances are you're going to enjoy it. So it's classified as a floral fragrance, but more specifically it's a fruity rose fragrance. There's a lychee and a rhubarb classic iconic notes that, open up Delina and set it apart from the traditional rose perfume that we know, well, that people would know. So I guess traditional rose perfumes would be a bit more powdery. Yeah, typical powdery rose perfume set. Why it's a dupe favorite? It's seen by the millennials as the ultimate pink fragrance, well, right now, and it's redefining what rose fragrances could smell like. So just moving it away from that typical powdery scent that people have grown accustomed to. It has a powerful projection and beautiful performance. That's what the consensus is. And it has become a social media favorite. Also, honestly, the bottle is beautiful. Like that beautiful light pink. They did well with that one. The popular dupes, I try to focus on price, so affordable types of dupes examples, but there are some designer examples that I put in there, which are, if I'm talking about a niche fragrance, then the designer would also sort of be more affordable than a Perfumes de Marly, which is at like 5-6 grand. So okay, the examples that I have for Delina or Delina Exclusive are Carolina Herrera, Very Good Girl. We have Maison Alhambra's Delilah. We have Bath and Body Works Covered in Roses. So Bath and Body Works, I don't think it's a popular South African. I haven't seen it in stores or South African shops. I think it's more American. I could be wrong. And then we have Armaf Club de Nuit White Imperial. I think I want to try that one out because I love Club de Nuit bottles. So that's Parfum de Marly's Delina. So the second one is Kayali's Boujee Marshmallow. So Marshmallow went through a moment, right? Like for a couple of years, went through a moment. We had marshmallows everywhere, and I guess originally it was inspired or started by Kilian's Love Don't Be Shy. So they were the first ones to, incorporate the marshmallow notes in their fragrance. I think 10 years later, Parfums de Marly's Oriana came along, and they sort of got inspiration from the Love Don't Be Shy DNA when they did their own thing with that. And from Oriana, we have like varieties and varieties of inspirations that have come from it. But they all trace back to Kilian, I would say. So instead of looking at those 2s, I've included Kayali specifically in this list because looking at the dupes, I feel like Boujee has more inspired by or reminds me of or DNA similarities than the other 2. So with that babble out of the way, Boujee Marshmallow was launched in 2024, so it's very recent. And the nose behind it was Gabriella, I wrote the pronunciation here, Kayali Rouge. thing. So it's classified as a fruity floral gourmand. Has an ultra sweet, fluffy, marshmallow powdery type of gourmand vibe going on. It's duped because like people generally love Kayali as a brand, right? So I think the sisters, Huda and forget the names, and Mona, like they are favorites. So people just generally love the Kayali brand, and almost all of its fragrances are duped. So it was inevitable that Young Boujee would also be duped, especially because Marshmallow went through its own thing. There was also a high demand of gourmand at the time that it was launched, so that inspired the dupe trend. Also because it's adjacent to Love Don't Be Shy, and a lot of people were fans of Love Don't Be Shy because, or not fans, but interested in Love Don't Be Shy because it was Rihanna's favorite scent, apparently. I don't know if it's still a favorite thing, but yeah, so, you know, any association with that was welcome. Popular dupes are Paris Corner Marshmallow Blush. We have Cartilage Cloud Candy. We have Latafa Ciara Elixir. We have Fragrance World Elysium Marshmallow. So I don't have any of these. I don't know if I want them. So I'll look at which one is the cheapest, if it's good. And I just don't know about the ultra sweetness. I'm still very wary of ultra sweet scents on me. So then at number 3 we have Creed Aventus. So launched in 2010 by perfumers Jean-Christophe Aero, and apparently he was a ghost perfumer. So Jean-Christophe was a ghost perfumer, and then he worked with Erwin Creed, but some sites will say Olivier Creed. So it's considered a chypre fruity perfume. It has a fresh opening and a smoky woody heart with a clean musky dry down. So it's very versatile, assertive and polished, and that's why people love it. Why it's duped? It's apparently, so this is the male version, right? It's apparently a compliment monster and a status symbol in men's niche fragrances. It has an iconic smoky pineapple DNA. I have the female inspiration, Alharamain's Laventia, and it also has a pineapple musky opening. It's a nice scent, but it's masculine. As much as they say it's La Femme, it's masculine. Anyway, back to, so apparently with the original Creed Aventus, there are batch variations which alter the scent of the perfume between batches. So the clones then bring in a bit of stability in terms of, you know, the formulation and the scent profile. The batch variations are due to some of the natural ingredients that are used in the fragrance. So because they're natural, we are dependent on how the soil was going, how the weather was going, how the harvesting was going, and any of those different external factors can influence the smell of the final product. So something could smell a bit more fruity than the previous batch, and that influences how the scent profile of the overall perfume is going to go. So as a side note, some people have become collectors of the different batches, and they sort of kind of compare and figure out which one is the favorite. Popular dupes are Amave Club de Nuit Intense Man. We have Mont Blanc Explorer and Al Haramain Laventia. As I mentioned, Al Haramain has the female and the male version of Creed Aventus, because there's an Aventus for her as well, which is supposed to be a similar DNA but more female friendly. I don't think so. I had a sniff of Aventus for her at Skins, and I can't say Laventia is a one-to-one match for it, but the opening is very like similar. And even with the Creed Aventus for her, I smelled it and I was like, it doesn't smell as masculine as the dupe, but it still has that thing, that masculine thing. So I had to add a post-edit note in honor of Olivier Creed, who passed away on the 20th of May 2026. So Olivier Creed was the 6th generation descendant of the founder of the House of Creed. He was also the master perfumer and guardian of the brand. I hope that he rests in peace. Cool. And then number 4, we have Tom Ford Lost Cherry. So launched in 2018 with the perfumer behind it being Louis. Why can't I say this? Louis Turner. Why am I struggling to say this name? Essentially, it's an Oriental fruity gourmand perfume. I've seen a couple of classifications for it across different sites, but I think it's a fruity gourmand type of fragrance. I think that's the safest classification. It's sweet. It has a boozy cherry almond gourmand feeling to it and a sensual woody vanilla base. So why it's duped? Obviously because it transformed cherry. Like it brought cherry into the spotlight in a different way. So cherry was known to be very juvenile, and then Tom Ford came, and I think they have like 2 or 3 different types of cherry scents that they played around with. But basically it came around, and what it said to the community is that cherry doesn't have to be juvenile. It can be sexy, it can be sensual, and that's what they did. So obviously that led to a hype and people trying to experiment or own this kind of cherry presentation. Just speaking on the juvenileness of cherry, I remember when I went to the perfumery with my mom a couple of years ago, we were picking out our different oils to make our perfumes from, and I wanted a cherry perfume. I don't think it was because of Tom Cherry. At the time I was just like, no, I want to try out a cherry perfume. So I picked out the cherry oil that she had, and she was like, no, you don't want to do that, you'll end up with a very juvenile smelling perfume. So I was like, and I think since that day I've been trying to find a cherry perfume that is gonna prove her wrong, even though it's not like I'm gonna go back to her and be like, what were you saying? But I have been wanting to own a cherry fragrance. As much as I don't have one right now, I think I might. It's not a distinct or cherry first fragrance, but I think I might have a perfume that has a cherry note on. I was just basically wrapping it up, or just highlighting the fact that among some people, among some circles, cherry was considered juvenile, and Tom Ford came up with Lost Cherry, and they were like, no, we can show you a different way of doing things. So it also became a very trendy scent profile, and yeah, it had a lot of social media hype because of it. Popular dupes are Kayali's Love Fest, Berlin Cherry 48. Maybe I should get that one. I'll think about it. And then we have Zara Cherry Smoothie, we have Dossier Ambery Cherry, we have Maison Alhambra's Lovely Cherry, and Afnan Cherry Bouquet. I don't know, none of those call to my name. So if you have a cherry fragrance, the way Tom Ford wanted it to be, sexy cherry fragrance that you can recommend, please let me know. I know the complaint with Tom Ford is that the cherry fragrances do not last. I don't know if that's an overall thing, because I was thinking about Kayali as well. I've heard that there's longevity issues with Kayali, so maybe I'll go for the Zara one. I've had a sniff of Zara perfumes, and I think for the most part they really smell very good. I mean, obviously they're dupes, but they smell good, so maybe. I think the last point to make is not all of these examples that are provided are meant to be one-on-one dupes or smell exactly like it, but they're sort of borrowing from the Lost Cherry DNA or concept and trying to create their own type of thing. And then the last one, which should come as no surprise, because everyone was smelling like this, everyone wanted to smell like this. This is Maison Francis Kurkdjian Baccarat Rouge 540. So I do not have, obviously Baccarat Rouge is like 5,000, right? I don't have a clone, a dupe for it, because of how hyped up it was. It was everywhere, and I had zero desire to smell it or smell like it until now. So after that, the wave has died down. Now I'm considering getting a DNA, and mostly because of what I learned about the scent profile while I was taking notes for this video. So I was like, I need to get this. I need to, as much as I won't get the original and I might not get the exact original profile, I need to get something that's similar, because this sounds interesting. Anyway, it was released or launched in 2015, obviously by Francis Kurkdjian, who is now somewhere at a designer brand, I think. I can't remember. It's classified as an oriental floral. The scent profile is sweet, airy, with an almost metallic warmth. I think the metallic warmth part is the part that got me, because I was like, what is it? So someone described it as smelling like expensive air. I want to know what that smells like. I want to know, what do you mean? What does expensive air smell like? My curiosity is piqued. Why it's duped? Okay, this is another reason why I want to get it, or something like it. Why it's duped? It was a new type of scent profile at the time, right? I know this for a fact, everyone was just going on and on and on about how it's a beast perfumer, like it lasts forever. What I didn't know though, one of the other reasons it's duped, and this is from Cosmopolitan, apparently it smells different on different people, right? So that makes it interesting, or it piques people's curiosity, because then if it smells like that on you, how's it gonna smell on me, type of thing. So that led to people wanting that type of scent profile. Whether the dupes or the inspirations get that right or not is left, to be discovered, which I probably doubt. But yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing that Francis Kurkdjian did there with that one. So popular dupes, once again, not one-to-one, just inspiration, similar DNA, different type of, personality going on. But we have Ariana Grande's Cloud, we have Zara Red Temptation, we have Mancera Instant Crush, Latafa Anna Abiyet Rouge. We have Armaf Club de Nuit Untold. Highlighting once again, they have their own way of interpreting what BR 540 is supposed to do, but don't expect them to smell one to one. So that concludes my top 5 most cloned perfumes of all time, I would say. Yeah, what do you think? Do you have another perfume that you think belongs on this list? I think there could be some more, honestly. I think there could be some more. These, when I saw these 5, I was like, yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. These scent profiles were everywhere. Everyone wanted to smell like this, and that's why they landed up on this list. But I'm more than happy to hear from you. I'm more than happy to know your thoughts. Do you have inspirations or dupes of any of these that you can share with the community? Let me know in the comments, and yeah, let's have that discussion in the comments below. Thank you guys for joining once again. If you liked this video or any other of the videos that I create of this type, then please do like and share and subscribe. I would truly appreciate that. Until next time.